In 1978, millions of dollars were sitting inside a cargo terminal at New York's JFK airports. Then, a group of armed thieves walked in and walked out with the money. The robbery was worth roughly $8 million in cash, foreign currency, gold, and jewels, and somehow investigators couldn't recover any of it. But the money wasn't the strangest part. The robbery would become connected to New York's criminal underworld, and people connected to the crime would later disappear or be killed. More than 40 years later, the Lufthansa Heist remains one of America's most notorious unsolved robberies. The target was the Lufthansa cargo terminal at John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York. Unlike a bank, this wasn't a place where ordinary customers walked in carrying deposits. The terminal handled valuable shipments arriving from overseas.
And someone knew exactly what was inside. That information was incredibly valuable, because the criminals knew when the money would be there, where it would be stored, and how they could get it out. The robbery wasn't random, it was planned, and the thieves were about to attempt something that sounded almost impossible. The airport was operating normally. Planes were coming and going. Workers were moving around the cargo facility. Then the criminals made their move. They entered the terminal and confronted the employees. Within minutes, the operation had changed from an ordinary night shift into a massive robbery.
The thieves took control of the situation. They seized the valuable cargo and loaded the stolen goods into vehicles. Then they left JFK. No dramatic movie-style shootout, no massive explosion, just a carefully planned robbery, followed by an escape into New York. And when investigators added up what was missing, the number was enormous, about $8 million. The airport was now a crime scene. Law enforcement agencies immediately began working the case. Because JFK fell primarily under the jurisdiction of the Port Authority Police, multiple agencies became involved. Investigators had to coordinate across federal, state, and local jurisdictions. But there was a major problem. The stolen money and valuables didn't simply lead investigators to one obvious suspect. The trail became tangled in New York's criminal underworld. The stolen cash was never recovered. Neither were the other valuables described in the FBI's historical account. That meant investigators were dealing with something unusual, a massive robbery with millions of dollars and no recovered haul. Decades passed. The stolen money never came back. The valuables never resurfaced. And the Lufthansa heist became one of those crimes where the aftermath became almost as famous as the robbery itself. The FBI still has records from the investigation in its vault, including multiple released files specifically titled Lufthansa Heist. So where did the millions go? Was the money divided among the thieves? Was it hidden? Was it spent? Or did some of it disappear forever? The FBI's historical account says none of the money or valuables had been recovered at the time of its publication. And that's what makes the Lufthansa heist so fascinating. A massive robbery happened inside one of America's busiest airports. Millions disappeared. The criminal world around the case turned deadly.
And somewhere in the story, there is still a missing fortune. The Lufthansa heist. One airport, millions stolen, and the mystery that refuses to disappear. Where do you think the millions went? Tell us your theory in the comments. And if you want more real mysteries that still have no ending, subscribe to Sokol TV.